Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, May 19th, and we are starting our penultimate, meaning second to last unit. We are going to be starting the last two sentence patterns, pattern 4 and pattern 5. And as you can see, I've got a new venue. I'm trying to do this in my closet, mostly so that I can avoid Finn when he is really wanting attention. I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy, I gotta record right now. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to start patterns 4 and 5 notes. If you don't have your notebook out, take it out now. If you don't have a writing implement, pause the video and go get that so that you can follow along with us. All right, present. We are at patterns 4 and 5. So this is unit 8. There are 10 units in our book. We're actually probably not going to be able to get to unit 10. That's okay. I already talked to Miss Enke, who you'll have next year. And you guys are going to go over that as well as do a bunch of review because unfortunately you got grammar during COVID. So don't worry about that. We're going to be able to do patterns 8 or we're going to be able to do unit 9 and unit 8. And I'll touch on unit 10, but we won't really have a lot of time for it. This unit is probably one of our most difficult ones for students, so make sure you're paying attention and ask questions when you come up with them, okay? So we're doing day 1 notes today, which is labeling and parsing in our jobs. And we are introducing this thing called a linking verb. So up until this point, we have had action verbs. We've had mental or physical actions like I run, I walk, I think, I believe, I love. Those are physical, like actual things you're doing, or mental actions. Like to think is it's an action. You're not just, you have to do something to think. Linking verbs are something we use all the time because they are what we call state of being verbs, meaning they aren't describing anything you're doing, they are just showing how you are. And I just used a linking verb to say that. So it is a word that shows a state of being, the way you exist. And we label those LV because they are different than action verbs. They act differently and they do different things and they have different things that come with them. In patterns 1, 2, and 3, those are action verb sentences. You have direct objects. Now we don't have direct objects. Those don't exist. We have something else that takes that spot. So like all of our sentences, they have to have a subject, just like any action verb. So any real verb has to have a subject. There's just a couple kinds of verbs. So like I said, with action verbs, the subject is doing something. But with linking verbs, the subject is being something. And that sounds really weird until you start looking at the examples, okay? The linking verb does the job of the verb. That's the same thing. That's not different. It is a real verb. It needs to have a subject, and it can be the verb of a sentence. It's just a different kind of real verb. And it acts like an equal sign, okay? If you just think linking verb, equal sign, you're good to go. Let's look at an example. A pencil is an important tool in any class. And the man became ill after eating the fish. Now, normally if we were together in class, I would say, what do you think the verb is in each of these sentences? Now, there's nothing being done in either of them. They're just describing a state of being. So what are the verbs in these sentences? The first one is. Pencil equals tool. Pencil is, it's its state of being. Ben. Sorry. The pencil, we're just describing what the pencil is. It's its state of being, okay? Same two, the man became ill. Man equals ill. Yeah, it's telling you that the man is ill. Equal sign. So the linking verb, seem and become are always linking verbs. You never ever have to figure that out, okay? They are always linking verbs. Oh shoot, I gotta grab something. All right. The most common linking verbs are forms of to be. So like is, are, am, was, were, being, and been. All of those are forms of to be, like I am, you are, she is, he was, they were, There are some words that can be linking verbs or action verbs. Those are actually my favorite because as soon as I figured this out, I was like, oh my gosh, it makes so much more sense. So there are words that could be an action verb. It could be an action that you're doing, or it turns out it actually can be a linking verb, a being verb. And these are my favorite. And this, I think, is the way that I understand linking verbs the best. Smell, taste, look, feel, appear can all be linking verbs or action verbs. And I want you to, I'm going to pause. I want you to pause, and I want you to think, how could smell be an action verb and a linking verb? Like, how could it be, it depending on the sentence, how could they be both? That doesn't make sense. So take a pause, think about it, and then we'll do an example. Here it is. The young boy smelled the flower. Is that an action verb? Is the boy doing an action in that sentence? Or is the boy being something? The young boy smelled funny. We have the same word, smelled, in both of these. We have smelled here and smelled here. Which sentence is there an action being done? Which sentence is an action being done? Which sentence is somebody doing something? And then in which sentence is something just being something? Which one is an action verb? This one. The boy is doing the act of smelling. He's going, ah, I can smell the flower. He did an action. Versus this second sentence here, the boy is not using his nose to smell. The boy just smells. It's how he is. He is stinky. He smells funny. It's not like he smells in a funny way. No, how he is that he smells funny. That's a linking verb, okay? The boy smelled funny. He's not using his nose to smell. It's not an active thing. He just exists in a funny smelling way, okay? So we have two sentences and or two patterns that go with linking verbs. Pattern 4 is going to look similar, except for pattern 4 and pattern 5 both have linking verbs, meaning no action verbs exist in these, which means no direct objects and no indirect objects, okay? Pattern 4 is noun, linking verb, noun. So it has a linking verb and two nouns. Similar to pattern 2, but this one is a linking verb, not an action verb, so it can't be a pattern 2 sentence. You shouldn't be able to mistake them because it's a different kind of verb. One noun comes before the verb, the subject, like always, and one noun comes after the verb, and we call that this fancy word the predicate nominative. I call it the P-noun, but you know, some people giggle at that name, but P-N-O-M, I don't know, shortening makes sense. So it's called the predicate nominative. Now, if you think back to Latin class, the subject is called the nominative case. Subject case is the nominative case. The predicate nominative just refers back to the subject, refers back to the thing that is your first noun. For the noun or pronoun that restates the subject. The predicate nominative and the subject are talking about the same thing. They just might be using a different word. They are the same thing. Remember, they're an equal sign. Let's look. The older woman was a dancer in the past. In the past is a prepositional phrase. What are the nouns and verbs in this sentence? Well, woman, was, dancer, past, cross it out because it's in a prepositional phrase. It can never be that important. We have our noun, linking verb, noun, and that means this noun here, it's not a direct object, it's a predicate nominative because the woman equals dancer. Dancer and woman are the same thing in this sentence. Okay? Remember, pause at any time. Make sure you're getting the notes down fully. Woman equals what? So we did, remember we would do, like, say the subject, say the verb, and then say what? Like, I hit what, Cassie? You know, don't tell your parents. Instead of saying, like, subject and the verb, what, you say subject equals what. And subject equals what? Dancer, predicate nominative. So you can shorten it to prednom, or P noun. Either one works for me. Now, this is the fun one. This is the only label that the label and the job are the same thing, okay? So this is pattern 4 with a predicate nominative, noun, linking verb, noun. Now we've got pattern 5, this idea of a predicate adjective. And that in Latin class, they call it the verb and its complement. So an adjective that follows a linking verb and it modifies the subject. This is the only adjective that does not need to come in front of a noun. This adjective is a special adjective because it can exist on its own after a linking verb to go back and describe the subject, okay? We label it a P-ADJ. It's the only job and label that are the same thing. It's a special type of word. So normal adjectives modify words that come after them. So like the red truck. Red describes truck. That's why we ask which every time we find our nouns in the sentence. This adjective, though, does not modify a word that comes after it. It modifies a word that comes before it. Predicate adjectives modify a word that comes before them, the subject. And they're the only words we label with their job, like I said. And here's our example. He was an angry man. He was angry. One of these has a normal adjective and one of these has a predicate adjective. What are the verbs in these sentences? Well, was. They're both linking verbs. Oh, I just moved it. It moved again. Well, you know what I'm trying to do. Now, in the first one, and what are the subjects in the sentences? Both are he. Whoa, ignore the bottom right-hand corner. That's wrong. Okay. He, this circle is supposed to be over he. I'm really sorry. I don't know why that happened. So, what are the adjectives in these sentences? Angry. Yeah, that's weird. All right, I'm gonna ignore the top. Ignore this right now. The thing I need you to know, see how this angry modifies man? Which man? The angry man. Here, this angry goes back and modifies he. He equals angry, predicate adjective, okay? Sorry about the circles. I don't know why those got messed up. Okay. So angry is modifying man. Angry is going back and modifying he. So we do this all the time, like she's smart, or, you know, he's fast. If we say he is fast, fast is describing he. It's going back. So it's something we use all the time when we're talking and when we like exist in life, but it's something that's kind of hard for us to label and figure out, okay? Angry here is a predicate adjective because it is an adjective that goes back to modify the subject. And that's our pattern 5 sentence. Noun, linking verb, predicate adjective. So it contains a linking verb and one noun, our subject. And then we don't have any nouns after the linking verb, 0. There will not be any nouns after the linking verb. You have something called a predicate adjective. It modifies the subject. Remember, the linking verb acts like an equal sign. The older woman was graceful in the past. Graceful is describing woman. Can you say the graceful woman? Guess you have a predicate adjective because you have that linking verb there, okay? What are the nouns and the verbs in the sentence? Woman, was, past, ignore past, it's in a prepositional phrase. So we have a noun, linking verb, and then we have this adjective that doesn't have a noun that comes after it. So it's a predicate adjective. Graceful. Noun, linking verb, predicate adjective. Okay? So you'd say woman equals what? Graceful. So that equal sign can either restate with a noun or it can describe. Woman equals what? Graceful. And from our previous example, woman equals what? Dancer. So you always want to use this, oh, I hate when that happens. This equal sign is a way to find your predicate adjectives and predicate nominatives. They're what we call as complements, meaning they complement the subject. This is the 5th thing a noun can do, by the way. So nouns, you can see all the colors. Nouns can be the subject, the direct object, the indirect object, the object of the preposition. They can now also be predicate nominatives, okay? And then predicate adjectives. Linking verbs are also verbs. Predicate adjectives are the part of speech and the job. Okay. Some examples. After the birthday party, the picnic table became filthy. What are our nouns? Party, table, and that's it. Which party? The birthday. Which table? The picnic. Prepositions. After the birthday party is a prepositional phrase. And then verb, became, always a linking verb. And then table equals what? Filthy. Now, it's not a predicate nominative because it is a describing word. The filthy is a describing word. It's not a thing. It's how it's describing. Which table? The filthy table. So if you can say table equals filthy, and you can also take that adjective and make it be a regular one in front of it, like the filthy table, predicate adjective. You've got it. All right. Number 2, nouns. To kill a mockingbird, proper noun with wings. Oh, sorry. I forgot to do this part. I always forget this. Get rid of party, noun, linking verb, predicate adjective. That's our pattern. 5 sentence. To kill a mockingbird is proper noun with wings. Novel. Harper Lee's proper noun with wings. Which To Kill a Mockingbird? Don't have one. Which novel? The most famous. And most is an adverb describing famous because it's not the most novel, it's the most famous. And then prepositions. By is a preposition. By Harper Lee's prepositional phrase. All we have left is our linking verb is. Now we'll find the nouns and the verbs. To kill a mockingbird is novel, noun, linking verb, noun. So novel and To Kill a Mockingbird, To Kill a Mockingbird equals novel. Yep. And since it's a noun, it is our predicate nominative. We don't actually label predicate nominatives P-NOM. I don't know why, but you can in your book. I'm fine with it, but you just need to know that the answer keys are going to say noun, not predicate nominative. Don't use her. Number 3, corner, possession, world. Which corner? The corner. Which possession? My most treasured. It's not the most possessions, the most treasured, so it's an adverb. The whole world. All right, then prepositional phrases. In the corner, in the whole world. And there is an adverb. Oh, we don't do that yet, sorry. Is our linking verb. And then there is an adverb. Where is it? There. What is? Corner is a noun. Is, possession, world. Don't use this. Don't use that. This is actually an action verb. All right, we're going to stop for today. You are not going to use this one later. I'm just showing you that there's an example of when is can actually be an action verb, but you're not going to see it in your work. So if you're confused still, don't worry about it. If you do get it, good for you. Tomorrow we're going to do day 2 notes, and I'm going to actually show you how to diagram. There's not a lot of difference in the diagrams. And yeah, so there's something else I'm going to show you tomorrow, or maybe I'll show it in another quick video today. A way to break up your notes in your red workbook to kind of show you which is which, okay? So I'm going to pause for today, and you will see me tomorrow for another video. And if you haven't checked out Language Arts yet, we are reading a new chapter in Language Arts as well. So I miss you guys, hope you're well, and that was day 1 of Patterns 4 and 5. Bye.